Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California. Hey everyone, this is Liza, and I'm not actually here. Well, no, I'm here now, but I'm not here today. Well, it doesn't make any sense. I'm out in Pakistan riding, so we've recorded some of these interviews, and this is one I was really excited about. We're going to cover a bunch of stuff here, but I want to get to who my stunt misfit is, because I don't have the usual gang here with me. I'm in an empty room, but I've called on one of our stunt misfits. And to be a stunt misfit, you have to have been on the show a few times at least. So joining me on this episode is stunt misfit Wendy Crockett.
How you doing, Liza?
I'm doing great.
I feel like our Wendy and Liza tours around the world also gives me like kind of a back door into stunt misfit status.
I know. Well, we haven't done a lot of traveling this year together, though we've got a big announcement we'll be making at the end of the show about where we will be together. But you did a pretty big thing very recently. Do you still have jet lag?
No, I'm doing okay for jet lag, but yeah, I've only been home about a week.
Yeah. Well, you want to tell everybody where you went?
So I just got back from a vintage rides tour in Nepal, and this was an all women's group, which was amazing. And I was able to bring my daughter Montessa along for the ride as well. So
okay, this kid is so spoiled. She's been, how many countries has she been to on a motorcycle? I mean, she was in Pakistan with us. You take her to Mexico.
Yeah, and then Nepal is her third international destination.
Are her classmates impressed yet? Because I know before they weren't quite impressed with Pakistan.
They're not real clear on where, like right around the Denver area, they start to get fuzzy on just how far away it is. But
I found that funny. There were kids who were more impressed with the kid who went to Denver than her to Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly. But she, part of her agreement, she had to take a few weeks off of school for this trip. So she'll be doing a presentation in class about the things she experienced and saw, and the culture and the history of Nepal. So she's really looking forward to that.
Well, so this, you mentioned Vintage Rides. This is one of the tours that Vintage Rides does. We talked with Alex previously on our show, and when you and I went to Peru, where you get to ride Royal Enfield. So what did you ride in Nepal?
So for this trip, we rode the Royal Enfield 350 Classic.
Perfect. It gets around. And you took a group of women there this time, right?
Yeah. So very, very cool. I knew everybody before this trip, but not everybody knew each other. So I had some friends from the Iron Butt world, long distance riding. I had some ladies that I'd met at other events and on other tours. So we brought this group of women together that I just knew. I knew from when the list was finalized that everybody was going to love each other. So I was really excited. I mean, as much so about the destination as I was about bringing this group of women together.
In fact, you have one of those women joining us. You want to introduce her?
Yes, we do. We have Heather Gillihan here with us. That she was on the Nepal tour, and I asked her if she would mind joining us as our unofficial misfit of the day. To talk a little bit about our experience in Nepal.
Hi, Heather.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
You were here to fact check everything. I'm not saying Wendy lies. I'm just saying it's good to have two people, when you're telling stories about how tall that mountain really was or how deep that river really was.
I'm not going to admit about being worried that she'll tell stories. My problem is her lens is a whole lot different than mine. So what she sees when she looks through her lens is a lot different than what I saw when I looked through mine. So that's why I'm here.
Well, in fact, I wanted to ask you, so how did you find out about this trip, and what made you pull the pin and go on the trip?
So Actually, we had just gotten back from the second annual Valkyrie Rally, which is a women's only motorcycle rally. And my husband, in theory, does not like social media, but he stalks my pages. So he happened to be on my Facebook and saw the post from Wendy about vintage rides going to Nepal. And he was like, you should do this. Like, he totally saw it and was so excited. He was just upset that it was women only and he couldn't go.
Is this an adventure you've thought about doing, or is this so far out of your comfort zone?
No, well, again, as described, it was not out of my comfort zone at all. I mean, it is true. I've only been riding about 10 years. I was probably the least experienced rider in terms of length of time and what I've done. I've done a lot of iron butt cert rides. My favorite thing is long distance. Love it, love it, love it. And we've done a lot of these, motorcycle rallies, the scavenger hunts. But that's it. Now, with the bike I should have already experienced a lot of other terrain, but have not.
What bike do you have?
I have a Yamaha Super Tenere.
Oh, great. That's a big bike.
It's a big bike. I love my bike, but it's an off-road version. So originally when Wendy was talking about this trip, we all got on a Zoom call and met each other. It was, billed as 95% paved, and the 5% that was not is packed dirt. So I'm like, packed dirt? You said packed, right? You said packed. Okay, good. I can do that.
Have you been to anywhere as exotic as Nepal before?
I've been to lots of places, but I've never ridden outside of the country.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, I lived in the Middle East for 4 years. Oh. I've been to Russia. I've been to, so.
All right. So you've been around the block.
Yep.
It's not the craziest thing to go somewhere that might have like donkeys in the road or something.
Not at all. Not even close. Right. So that was fine.
Wendy, I just realized that should be our measure of like level of exotic. If there's a donkey in the road.
So we multiple times on this adventure, you look and there is a giant bus and there is a work vehicle of some sort that's not appropriate. And there is a scooter with 9 people on it. And there's goats and chickens in the road. And that is like your standard traffic.
That's where I want to go.
Yeah. And don't forget the dogs that lie in the middle of the road during the traffic. There was that as well.
Completely unconcerned.
But, we saw a lot of those in Peru too.
I have been, working at events the last few years, and I do a lot of speaking at events and things like that. And it seemed like every event I was having women that are like, oh God, I'd love to take a trip somewhere, fun, somewhere distant. But I just don't have anybody, to do that with. I don't have the kind of riding friends that have that adventurous spirit. So after a few years of this, I thought, well, why don't we put something together? Why don't we put this out there? And kind of all of these individual ladies that have that the desire to travel and explore, we'll put them together and make this a tour all of our own. So that's how the Nepal trip came to be. And we didn't even have a specific destination in mind at first. I kind of talked to the ladies that I knew were interested and got a feel for what they were looking for. And the general consensus is, maybe 2 weeks or less, and something that was, they didn't want luxury tour. They didn't want to just be spending a couple hours a day on the bike and, the rest of the day lounging around the pool type of thing. They really wanted to experience the riding in the country, but nothing too aggressive. And so that was the parameters that I was working within when we picked Nepal as a destination. Now, after we selected Nepal as a destination and we had most of the riders booked, Nepal experienced a really serious monsoon season. They've had some earthquakes. They had a lot of things going on that had significantly impacted road conditions. So there'd been a lot of landslides. There was a ton of roads needing repair and construction. So
my dream environment.
I know Liza's dream environment. And it was it was explained to me that there's going to be a lot more dirt. There's about 40% dirt. But most of these areas are under construction as we speak. And we were not expecting quite so aggressive an environment.
So I want to get Heather's perspective. So you were told like 95 paved, 5 off-road. What was the reality?
In my mind,
yeah,
60-40. 60-40, holy crap, was the 60 for me. And 40 was, all right, this is what I expected. So that was it for me.
All right, so I want to just check with you, Heather, on some of the earmarks I look for on a tour. Were there any active landslides?
Yes.
Oh, great. Were there any sketchy bridges?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Were there any river crossings?
Yes.
Ah, so this was a dream trip.
Okay, this was a dream trip. Had I known what to do at those things, because let me clarify, I have always wanted to be able to do that. Like, had I known this was true, I would probably not have signed up, because I do have enough self-awareness to go, girl, you're not ready for that, but you want to be, right? So my mind is ready. I just didn't have the skills yet. But so it wasn't that was horrifying. It was just, when you're not sure what you're doing on that, it's a little different.
Now, hold on. And of course, I think Wendy knows my ultimate level of this is the most perfect trip is if you have to ride through an active construction zone. Did that happen?
Yes.
Oh, man, you have nothing to complain about. This was a perfect trip. No, I'm joking. When you're expecting one thing and you get another, that makes it an adventure. So as you said that you ride a Super Tenere, which is a big 1200 cc touring bike. Now you're riding a little Royal Enfield. How much did that help with just having a smaller bike to navigate the terrain on?
Well, I'm quite sure it was night and day different, right? For some of us too, though, you're also, got to throw in a few more things. It was my first time riding on the left side of the road, so that was new too. It was my first time having a heel shifter that kept getting in the way of people like me who have large feet. So that was new too. So many times going up those big rocky hills, I found myself in neutral and holy crap, But I tell you what, it turned out to be absolutely amazing.
Yay!
I will say the one thing, what my number one goal was, Liza? My number one goal was not to be the first one down. I did not make that goal. I was the first one down. But I will say, day 1 and day 2 were pretty tough for me. After that, smooth sailing, even though, and I would love to know if Wendy thinks the same, to me, the last day was probably the most challenging overall in terms of the variety of terrain. But after days 1 and 2, no problem, because I asked Wendy, what the heck do I do? And 2 sentences. Oh, all right. Not a problem after that.
What'd you teach her?
Well, so we ended up on a road it wasn't a road, it was a trail. It was an unmaintained trail. And there was a lot going on. So, we had deep sand, deep silt going downhill, 90 degrees into a river crossing.
I'll admit that's not always fun.
Yeah, 90 degrees up a deeply rutted hill with baby head rocks that steeply curves around a corner, so you can't pick your line. There's a cliff on one side and a ditch on the other. There was a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of things going on. So, Heather had a situation where the clearest path that she had then steered her over to the edge of the road, where she ended up in some big baby head rocks, and she went down. And we helped her get up and get back running again. But then I see the tension, in her arms. She's super, super stressed out at this situation. And with the stiff arms, you're not able to control the bike. When you have 2 stiff arms, that bike is going to go straight no matter where your brain wants it to go. So that was kind of she had a few more rough situations in really rapid succession right there because of that growing, the lack of confidence and the tension in that situation. So we talked a little bit more afterwards about, what she can do. And you think about, if you don't want to stand up, think about steering with your butt, leave your body loose, leave your arms loose. And she said, well, what did I do wrong to begin with? And I said, yeah,
That's the right question.
Baby head rocks are rough, no matter who you are, no matter what your skill level is. When something like that jumps into your path, it's tough. It's knowing how to recover from that without getting so much tension in your body that
Heather, go faster.
Forward.
Go faster.
The big thing, I don't remember. I mean, I'm quite sure I was, of course, nervous, but I had such a good day on that second day that I was feeling okay. And so once I fell, I was a little confused, right? Because I was like, I've been doing this all day. What was the difference? Then after that, to her point, 2 more right in a row. And I knew that was me. I knew that was in my head and my body and, all of that. But one of the things that she told me that helped so much afterwards that I did not realize is my security blanket's the clutch when I get nervous, right? So when I'm on this stuff, I'll pull that clutch all the way in. And then when I pop it, that's when I would fall. And I didn't equate the two. And so once she told me, you're ride it in first gear, these things can take it, don't touch the clutch and don't touch the front brake. That's it. That's all I needed. The rest of the trip was fine after that.
So you've never taken any sort of off-road riding class?
Never.
Are you going to now?
I think she said I was the first one signed up. So I'm already signed up.
Yeah. So
to do a little teasing, because we're not quite there yet, but Heather and Liza and I are going to be seeing each other for some off-road training in a few short weeks.
Yes, we will get to that later in the episode because it's a big announcement and I'm excited about it. So I want to hear more about Nepal. So here's what I know about Nepal, which is not a lot. Isn't it somewhere like in the middle top of India? And aren't there big mountains? That's about all I know. Am I close?
It's like one neighbor away from Pakistan.
Yep.
Similar in landscape to Pakistan. We didn't get quite so much into the mountains on this tour. Theoretically, this tour, theoretically, the roads were supposed to be primarily paved, but also it was going to be just the beauty of the landscapes, riding in the shadow of the Himalayas and having these incredible views of Annapurna and these fabled peaks and things like that. Fortunately, Nepal and Kathmandu specifically, but the entire country really had the worst air pollution in the entire world while we were there. So it was a bit of a bummer on the view side of things for sure. But we did get to experience a lot of the culture, which is amazingly different from Pakistan, considering how close they are, on the big scale.
And Heather, you said you lived in the Middle East. Where did you live?
I lived in Jerusalem for close to 4 years. And so my husband had a work visa. The kids and I did not. So every 3 months we're traveling, to restamp that visa. And so we've had a, experience in the Middle East, but I thought this was phenomenal. I don't exactly know what I was expecting. But I was so pleasantly surprised about everything. Okay, maybe not the off-road stuff, right away. Now I've learned to appreciate that. But in terms of the friendliness of the people, and then as Wendy said too, the group of women, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. The first time I've ever ridden in a group, it's with people I don't know. What's your riding style? What's your riding style? Everyone was so incredibly accommodating, and I will be friends with these women for the rest of my life, no doubt.
That's something I wanted to ask, because a lot of people who've never been on a tour don't realize what they're missing. There's a couple things that happen. One, there's a bonding within the group. I know a lot of group tours I've done, we still have message groups going around, people sharing their lives, what's going on. But 2, you get the camaraderie and support. So I'm curious, Heather, since these turned out to be more challenging roads than expected, did you find that the group was helping each other through these obstacles and challenges?
Well, yes, after they laughed and took pictures, of course, that's priority
As you
number
do.
one.
Yes.
That's priority number one. But after that, absolutely, advice here and there, or you got this, or, like I even loved sometimes because naturally even though I started doing much better in the dirt, I would naturally slow down, make sure and let all those important little facts run through my head before I hit it. And then once I got on the other side, whoever was in front of me, I would see them like shaking their head and good job. That was incredible for someone like me. These women have ridden all over the world and through everything. And so the fact that they took such an interest in how maybe those of less experienced did, it was, I couldn't have asked for a better group of women. It was incredible.
That's cool.
I dare say Montessa was probably the best cheerleader, because there wasn't, I don't think there was, there wasn't a 2-hour period of time that Montessa wasn't on the back of the bike going, "You got this, Heather. You got this back. Come on. You're doing great." Super cool.
So
I do have one question for Wendy. Wendy, on the first water crossing, I remember she was behind me, and I've never done that either. And I turned around and said, "What the heck do I do?" And she yelled something at me that I never heard. Would you mind telling me what that was?
You want to know now?
I can't remember of the many water crossings we did, but
can I take a guess? Was it send it?
Send it. Yeah. No. I think probably the one that I'm thinking of is I was sitting and waiting because there was other people sitting on the far side of the water crossing.
Yep.
And it was another one of those where we were steep down a hill, 90 degrees, steep up a hill, and there was people lined up along the steep side of the bottom side of the hill. And so I was encouraging her to wait until everybody else was long gone so she could get to the far side of the hill and maintain her momentum without having other people impact her line.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
So did you gain confidence on this trip?
100%. Absolutely, yes.
And what advice would you give to somebody who was looking to do a trip like this?
Two things, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but assume it's going to be much different than they say. And again, no ill will involved.
It's lies.
Right?
It's all lies.
That was I made a sticker after the trip. Most people make stickers before, and mine was like, this was not in the brochure. Right. So, but also I would have loved to have had off-road training before something like this.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, I'm so excited I'm going to call it continue my off-road training, because that was just trial by fire, learning on the job. And I'm very pleased with the outcome. So more is better.
But do you think you would have been it would have been as enjoyable of a trip if it was just all easy pavement? Do you, no, really, because I think having these little challenges that you have to overcome and coming home a better rider, doesn't that ultimately make it a better experience?
I can say, looking back now, yes, 100%.
Right.
I was one of the riders that I laugh about this now. My first reaction when I saw the itinerary and then heard Wendy talk about how, you'll ride for an hour or so, and then you'll get off and have tea, and then you'll ride for an hour. And as a long distance rider, I'm like, what the heck? Like, I want to ride all day. I have never been so thankful for those stops, though, in my entire life, because I needed to breathe. But yeah. So.
Well, Wendy, how about you? What I want to know, Wendy, what were the things that you were looking forward to the most, and what were the challenges that you had to overcome?
Well, I do want to say, backing up half a step, certainly I don't think any company tries to sugarcoat the definition. And definitely it was, I didn't anticipate, based on the other Vintage Rides tours that I've been on, I think I have a pretty good idea of what an adventure level tour is like. And so I was expecting this to be very tame in comparison.
Well, and that's one thing we know about certain parts of the world is the environment is changing a lot because of weather, because of earthquakes, because of things out of their control. So we really can't exactly nail down what it's going to be like. I get it. It's not lies. I mean, it's more
right,
fluid.
but it's when you have these itineraries, specifically, the luxury itineraries are all short days. They are all pretty much paved roads. So as you get, closer and closer in these levels to those adventure tours, there's just by their very nature introduced a level of uncertainty. And there's, there's always going to be some challenges. This tour, and I went in expecting very, very tame. I expected very mellow, really nothing challenging as far as the riding went. And that is part of the reason I brought Montessa along with. As you know, in Pakistan, she spent a moderate amount of time in the support truck with Melissa and Maggie the dog. And whenever we got into those situations where we kind of anticipated we would be riding in active landslides under earth moving equipment and, on the edge of a cliff, maybe Montessa is going to opt to be in the truck today. Yeah. But I figured this one, it's going to be nice and mellow. It's going to be way less aggressive than she's used to as a pillion. And certainly it brought a lot of interesting new challenges to the itinerary for sure. But the culture was different than I expected, especially again with the Pakistan trip to draw upon. It was such a different experience, and I had almost, I'm not going to lie, I was like half disappointed that Nepal was chosen as the destination because I felt like I've already had pretty much this experience in Pakistan. I didn't think I was going to be experiencing something different, and I was so surprised. I really was. Such a wonderful country. We met so many incredible people. All the religious sites, the temples and things like that. And we had on several occasions the opportunity to experience some of the local, we happened to visit a temple when there was a funeral ceremony going on. So we got to witness and learn about as this woman's family brought her into the temple and were preparing her for cremation at the temple site there. And it was really moving. It was really impactful to be witness to that. And that is experiencing culture in an entirely different way. I mean, we were in tears watching this woman's family saying goodbye to her. And that's not something you can read in a book. That's not something you can watch a video of and feel that same impact.
No, and I think this is one of the highlights of doing motorcycle tours, and especially like all the places Vintage Rides goes. Yeah, you're on a motorcycle trip and you're having fun doing the thing you love. But then on the other side, you're having these amazing cultural experiences and the actual touring side, the food and the villages and the goats and the mountains. I mean, what were the mountains like? This is the Himalayas you're in, yeah?
Yeah. We can't really tell you because there was so much pollution. But I will say we did make our own way. We one of the days when we were staying in the same location a couple of days to do a little more intense sightseeing. Many of us woke up, I think, about 4 a.m. to be at the airport at 5 to take a flyby of Mount Everest and the surrounding peaks. And it was phenomenal.
And I want to clarify something. It's not always it doesn't always have this much pollution. It's my understanding this was the the time of the year that they do the burnings, like the farms and stuff. So this is just the time of year.
It was unlucky timing for us, definitely.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
we did get something else that we got to do that I know I was super excited about is we took a safari.
What?
And Yeah. So we saw, a bunch of wild elephants. We saw wild rhinos, lots of monkeys. We were able to go to elephant breeding center, and we took like a canoe ride in down a river in the jungle there, and saw um, not only crocodiles but wild gharials, which
Mm.
are a type of crocodile with like a super duper duper long skinny snout.
Are you sure that isn't
And
something Dr. Seuss created?
they are so wacky looking, but they are actually critically endangered. There's only they think 600 left in the world.
Mm-hmm.
They think just a little more than 250 in Nepal, and we saw 7 of them on our trip, and I was so excited. Like, what a
Mm-hmm.
magical thing to get to see in the wild with so few of them left in the world. So we were able to learn about the efforts to help stabilize the population and repopulate them in the area, and beautiful birds, cool monkeys everywhere we
Mm-hmm.
went. So it was
Oh,
pretty magical.
I'm so jealous because I don't know if you remember when we were in Peru, my Amazon jungle experience. We remember that we came down off that mountain down into the jungle. And we stayed at that cool bungalow, and I'm like, the jungle's right there. And I got out my flashlight and I started venturing in. I got about 3 steps in, and that's about as far as I can get. And then I saw all the bugs. And I think, did you see, or someone was like, what the heck is Liza doing? They could just see this like flashlight in the bamboo. Like, I'm foraging. And that's as far as I got, about 3 steps.
I think we heard monkeys. We definitely heard critters of some sort rummaging around in the jungle in
It
Peru,
was
but
sketch.
we didn't come anywhere near the experience that we had. And on Montessa and I took a separate safari on her own, and she got to pet a rhinoceros and feed one. And that was the absolute highlight of the trip for her. And it was really funny because I have a video of it, and we had just come from a full day of trekking through the jungle, and we feed this rhinoceros who's in a rehabilitation. He'd been orphaned, and he's in a rehabilitation facility. And she feeds him a banana. And then I turned to our guide and I said, "Well, can we pet it?" And he's like, "I mean, YOLO, you can pet it at least once, whatever." Like, you're not going to experience that in America in in an animal
Did
rehab
you ask
facility.
if you
He's
could
like,
ride it?
"Give it a try."
Can I hop on his back and go for a ride?
You should.
So Montessa's highlight was petting a rhino. Wendy, what was your highlight of the trip?
I think it was the women, for sure. It was that dynamic, and I just knew, like I said, to some degree or another, had a connection with every one of these ladies, and I was so excited that bond, because it's the type of situation that could have turned out very, very differently if the group dynamic was different.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so supportive. It was so cool. Everybody was really, there was no ego involved.
Mm-mm.
So when we,
Mm-mm.
when we would sit down and talk about, hey, we've got a couple different options for today. Some of them is crazy traffic and splitting, this. Some of it is crazy dirt roads. And the group would always really come together. And that is, for me, what made the experience is being able to tackle these challenges together and integrate all of these surprises that the road is throwing at us and really come out stronger for the experience.
And Heather, what's your highlight?
Well, that would have been my number one. Number two was how welcoming the people of Nepal were to us. So incredibly friendly. So, I mean, just the smiles. And I love their greeting. I love the namaste. I mean, it kind of says it all, right? It says you're welcome here. We're happy you're here. When we started riding, because there's motorcycles and mopeds and whatever, more of those than cars. And at first I was always surprised at why we were such the show. I'm like, why do they know one motorcycle from the other? And then I realized what it was. It was the gear, right? We're all geared up head to toe. One of the coolest experiences to me was we we got stopped by some local police. And then our guide comes back to explain they want a picture with us because they've been trying to get their own people to start gearing up a lot more. I don't know if most wear helmets. Some wear helmets, but most do not wear any other protective gear other than that. And so I loved getting to take a picture with them for the purposes, hopefully, of, getting more protection on these riders. But I just thought that was a neat experience too.
Nice. Well, let's.
I have a quick runner up for my favorite, and that is one time near the end of the trip, we stopped at a little tiny shack to get a meal at just the side of the road, like in a jungle setting. And a water buffalo comes ambling down the road and wants to come up and see us. So this little guy sneaks in between the motorcycles. And of course, all of us girls are and we're trying to take a picture with this water buffalo that's wandered onto her porch. Well, the shopkeeper comes out with a broom and starts swatting the water buffalo. So, of course, the buffalo panics and starts flailing around and knocking the bikes around and stuff like that. So we jump forward, grab all the bikes so the bikes won't fall over while this poor little guy is shuffling backwards, while half of us are admonishing the shopkeeper that we want a photo with the...
See, Wendy, this is why we are such good friends, because our perfect moments are chaos. It's when chaos ensues that we are happiest.
It was wonderful. It was a wonderful, chaotic moment. I loved it.
Awesome. Well, Heather, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on. And we're going to be looking forward to seeing you soon as well. And...
Can I give one regret?
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure.
One regret that I will look back on. We didn't get to ride over the swinging bridge. Not that we didn't get to. It had been a very long day. Everyone was exhausted, and we chose not to. So for everyone out there listening, go for it. Go for it. Even when you're tired, do the cool stuff, because that's my one regret.
I love a good death bridge.
Say yes to the death bridge.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Well, we're going to have Alex from Vintage Rides come up next and tell us about some more tours and new announcements. It's so fun to catch up. So thank you, Heather. We'll let you go.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, Heather. See you soon.
Bye. See you soon.
All right. So joining us now is Alex from Vintage Rides. Hey, Alex, how are you?
Hello, Lisa. I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. Bone? How do you say that? Good? Bonsoir? Is it? I don't know. Sadly, I actually last year I started doing online French lessons because I wanted to learn, and I just don't have the aptitude. I just don't.
No. I'm sure you can.
We'll see. But I love the language so much. I love it so much. So I'm just going to enjoy your accent. So, Alex, it's been a while since we've had you on here. Last year, we had you on talking about vintage rides, of which Wendy and I went to Peru and rode the Royal Enfields, which is what you kind of do. And we talked about how you started out in India and have spread to how many countries now?
We are more than 20 countries now.
Are you the largest motorcycle tour company for the amount of countries you do?
In terms of amount of countries, that's possible. That's very possible. At least I think we are the largest adventure motorcycle company in the world. In terms of number of riders on the road, we have more than 2,000 riders traveling with us every year. And so far, I didn't meet any larger companies.
And you just last year were really trying to break into the American market because you've been doing this off of French and European markets mostly. How's that going? Are you getting more and more Americans discovering your tours?
Yeah, absolutely. It's growing slowly, but it's growing in a good pace thanks to Wendy, who is doing a fantastic job with us in the US. So we're also learning to get what the American riders expect. So it's true that our tours are quite adventurous, and we realize that a lot of Americans actually would need to learn a bit more on how to ride the bike in a bit more difficult terrain. Even if Vintage Ride's DNA is to take any rider, really any rider, to be able to make epic adventures like riding in the highest road in the world, in the Himalayas, in the Andes. But still, I would say that sometimes there is a little gap in terms of technicity.
And I just want to cover, I'm looking at the list of countries that you go to. I'm just going to rattle these off for people who aren't familiar with vintage rides. Let's see, and tell me if I miss anything. Argentina, Bhutan, Chile, Ecuador, France, Greece, India, Himalayas, India, North India, Indonesia, Laos, Madagascar, Mongolia, Morocco, Nepal, Peru, Rwanda, South Africa, Southern India, Sri Lanka, Tanzania, Thailand, Tunisia, Turkey, United Kingdom, United States, and Vietnam. And some of those have been added. We'll get to those in a second.
Yeah.
That's quite a list. And I think last time we were on, I asked you what's going to be next. Is there a country on that list that isn't on that list that you would like to add someday?
Yeah, they are, but I keep them to myself.
Yeah, you're not going to give it up. You're not going to give it up.
I think there is at least 3-4 I really want to add on that list. Then we'll be good.
Well, let's talk about what you have added. What are the new trips that you've added in the past year?
In the past year, I think we launched 4 tours, 2 new countries, and 2 new tours in existing countries. So the 2 new tours in existing countries is Central Vietnam and Cappadocia, which is a very famous region in Turkey.
Oh.
So these are 2 amazing tours. In Central Vietnam, it's an accessible tour. So it's more targeting couples or simply riders who want to ramble peacefully in Vietnam. Cappadocia is more an adventure tour. So really, it's really a mix of on-road and off-road. So, but really good tour as well. And then we launched Greece. So we have a very nice 1-week holiday in Greece, a ramble mostly on-road. So it's I think that can be really nice for the American market because it's basically a 1-week tour for only $2,000, everything included except the flight. So I think that can really hit the American market. And then we recently launched Madagascar. So this is a very adventurous destination. And that one is on the new 450 Himalayan, which perform amazingly well on this adventurous terrain. I just come back from Madagascar.
Do you promise lemurs?
Yeah. And I do promise. Actually, I was walking in the forest and one almost jumped on my foot. I can really promise that one.
Whoa. So let's talk quick about the new 450s. So the new Himalayan 450s, because the bikes that you have on your tours, you have what, Bullet 350s, Bullet 500s, and do you still have some of the old Himalayans and now the new Himalayans?
Yeah, we still have sometimes the old Himalayan 411, and now slowly we are shifting the old Himalayan towards the new one, the 450. So it's slowly developing in the fleet. We now have them in Ecuador, which is also a popular destination for Americans. We have them in Peru. We have them in Argentina. We have them in Greece. We have them in Cappadocia in Turkey. And we now also have them in Madagascar.
How do you think these bikes hold up? What's your review of it?
But my opinion is that they are just perfect for adventure because what we like at Vintage Rides is mid-size motorcycle on which you can just sit on it and it's very easy to maneuver. Doesn't really matter how advanced you are in motorcycling, and I think that perfectly does the job. It's powerful enough for a couple if there is 2 people on the bike. It's powerful enough to get out of any tricky situation, but it's not too powerful. It's very smooth, very easy to ride, and it performs really well also on bumpy roads that we happen to find on many adventurous destinations. So it's a very good surprise. It's a very good surprise, and that's why we already have them in 6 destinations now.
I'm excited to get to ride one. Wendy's ridden it. I haven't yet. I'm actually surprised how much electronics it has on it because I'm so used to Royal Enfields being just basic, just simple machines. Yeah. And trust me, I tried to kill the Bullet when I rode it in Peru. I did. I put it through its paces. I couldn't kill it. I tried. But
that's why we love it. That's why we love it. But the Bullet, we definitely want to keep some Bullet in the fleet as well.
Yeah, it is fun. I wanted to talk a bit about, there's a different type of tour that you've offered on your site, the basically the training, the academy. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, basically we realized that maybe the majority of the vintage riders, I mean, the riders who travel with us on the tour, we call them vintage riders, happen to have their first off-road experience with vintage rides.
Mm.
And we realized that we somehow became an academy without even knowing it. You know, our tour leaders were giving advice how to perform when suddenly there is a little bit of sand, nothing very complicated, you know, a mud, because in many less developed countries, there are no good roads, or the road may very well become a trail, then become a road again, then become a trail again, because the roads are of less good quality. And each time it rains, I mean, every season the road can be different. And so without even noticing, we're giving really a lot of riders their first off-road experience. And we realized that that was limiting some riders from doing the more advanced tours on our portfolio. Even if the advanced tours at Vintage Rides are not extremely demanding in terms of technicality, but still, you know. And so we realized, okay, let's create our own academy, which really matches our DNA, which is not about big motorcycles or either riding enduro motorcycles, which is very aggressive, or KTMs, or riding, you know, the big, I call them the SUV of motorcycling, you know, the BMW GS and the big 1200 Tigers and all. So we say, okay, let's just do what we know how to do. Let's get 10 Himalayan. Let's get a proper trained, certified coach to explain our riders how to behave on the bike on a very normal trail. We are not looking for very challenging off-road. The goal is just to make sure that our riders can safely travel the world on motorcycle, including the roads that you find in most of the world, which is half road, half trail, easy trail, but it's still trail. And so for one day, we really learned the tricks. And then for 2 days, I mean, our first academy is based in Lyon, France, basically a region close to Lyon, in Beaujolais. It's where we do wine. And and we do 2 days of mix of small roads and off-road in easy trails of Beaujolais around the vineyards. And it's a very nice product that the riders like a lot. And we realized that basically, I think it's 50% of the riders already traveled with us. And the other 50% are booking a tour after this academy. So it's a good success.
So you've been doing this in France, and you have different options. You have, like, you can just go do training for a day, but then you also have ones that are 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah.
So what do those trips entail?
Yeah, basically, when you do the 1 day, you focus on developing the skills.
Yeah.
So you reach in the early morning, then you get the Himalayan, then you have a small theoretical briefing with the coach. Then you hit a closed ground, which is certified for off-road motorcycle training with a certified coach. And we really do, basic but fun exercises. Basically, when you're on a motorcycle, when you ride on tarmac, if you basically want to turn on the left, you put all your weight on the left. But if you're on off-road, you stand on your bike and you push your bike on the left, but your weight should go on the right.
Right.
And that's basic things that you may not, you may not, and even you should not know unless you've been taught to. And this is this kind of basics that we practice. We do uphills, downhills, ride on gravel. We ride on gravel. We ride on mud. We do emergency braking on these kind of things. We do some loops, some 8, and very, very quickly the day is gone. But it's so that's the one day program. But what I normally recommend is more the 3-day program, because then you have a mix of an academy and of a tour. Because you have this 1-day capsule, but then you go and sleep in a nice homestay in the vineyards with the people having the local wine and all. We have a nice evening like we have on the tours. Of course, you don't ride the bike after the wine. So we talk about the experience and all. And then for 2 days, we just discover the region, ride across the fields, ride in the vineyards, ride in wonderful forest. We have some easy, challenging uphills, some downhills, again, gravel, mud, water, some very small river crossing. But the spirit is that it's accessible. We don't have the intention to train very advanced adventure riders. I think it's not our DNA. What we want to do is to make, make anyone able to go for a motorcycle adventure around the world. And that's what we know. And that's what we train people for. Because, and obviously also, when you're able to ride in any road in the world or any accessible trail in the world, we believe you ride much safer at home.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about that, having those extra tools. And in fact, I mean, Wendy and I have both encountered this on our own tours where there's somebody who doesn't have those skills and are kind of white knuckling it and not enjoying the trip, but just small bit of instruction can, build up the confidence and let you just now really enjoy. And in fact, I mean, I think the difference is, Wendy, I mean, we've both encountered people like they see a river crossing and they go, oh no, as opposed to like, oh yeah. Right?
Right. And I think the whole difference is having those skills in your toolbox, like knowing what to do when you come across that river. So it is a heck yeah rather than a oh crap.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I love. I'll tell you, Alex, I really love these 3-day trips you have because you get the training and then you get to go apply it. But it's also just a small little, like a 3-day trip so that if you're planning a family vacation or whatever, you can do this little side thing and get the training and do a fun trip without breaking the bank and without having to use up all your vacation.
Exactly. But that's exactly what we notice in France in our academy is that some people really come to learn the skills. Some people just come for fun. They just want to come with 2-3 friends and ride around Beaujolais and use vintage rides logistics and have, just have a good time together because they like the way we do it. And that's really a part of the people who ride with us also in France on the academy, which is a surprise, but a good surprise.
Well, and you've expanded the academy into the UK as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we realized that it's really fulfilling a need in the market. And so we decided with Ben and Rich, who are our adventure consultants in the UK, to develop that in Wales. In Wales, we did it only as a 2-day option. So it's a 1 day of really on-ground training, the same way I described in France. And then we just go on the hills, on the trails, close to the sea and ride the bikes over there.
Wales has some great riding. Not like they're not known for their freeways and high speeds. It's going to be small roads and these trails.
Exactly.
And it's farmland. I mean, sheep.
Yeah.
Expect to see a lot of sheep. In fact, aren't there more sheep than people in Wales? Am I making that up?
That's a good question, but
I think there is.
I'm not the right one to answer that one.
But it's just to paint the picture of the landscape. And that's a great place because I know for a lot of people who ride in the UK, the off-road riding, it's not perfectly packed roads. These are roads across like farmlands often. You might have shale and you might have mud and you might have silt or sand. And This is just a great, great another training ground, plus another cool place to visit.
Absolutely.
Well, do you have any more announcements that you're ready to make, or should we?
I have one announcement, but it's a modest one.
Yeah.
Maybe just, in Madagascar, when I was there 2 weeks back, we were with a film crew. So we are going to launch our annual movie on the 4th of June on our YouTube channel. And to be honest, I'm really excited to see this movie. The pictures already that we've seen are amazing. We are going to launch the pictures again within 1 week on our Instagram. Every second day, a picture of Madagascar. And on the 4th of June, the movie will be released on our YouTube channel. And I hope we are trying to make the best movie we ever did in the past. So let's see if we manage that. Well,
I'm going to be honest. I'm looking up right now where Madagascar is because I'm one of those Americans. It's an island?
I think it's the largest island in the world, just in the south of Africa. So it's a mix of, it's a very, very diverse country in terms of landscape. The culture is a mix of Asia and Africa because the first people who landed in Madagascar were Asians, maybe 1,500 years ago. And then, of course, there were several waves of Africans coming. So it's a very mixed culture. mixed. The food also inspiration comes from both Asia and Africa. And the landscapes are very diverse. You have rice fields, you have primary forest, you have savanna, you have hills. So it's, in terms of landscapes, in the US, obviously, we have among the best wide, spaces in the world. I think Madagascar is also one of these countries.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing that. We are going to be bringing on our good old friend Steve from Be Crash Free, who we all know, and we're going to be making the big announcement we're looking forward to. And I hope to see you soon. I'm really tempted about one of the Wales or the French trip. I mean, it sounds perfect to me. I just need to talk Wendy into coming with me so we can continue our world domination tour.
I would love that. You need to come to France, and like that, we can have some good French wine together.
Ooh.
After riding the bike.
Yeah, after riding the bike. Well, I'll let you go. I know it's late there, so thank you very much for coming on. And I'll put the link in the show notes again for Vintage Rides, and check them out. It's so much fun. And I don't know if you noticed, but for you, did you see on the shelf behind me, I put a little bullet right behind me. I know, it's subtle. It's subtle.
Thank you, Lisa, for receiving me. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks,
See you, Wendy.
Alex. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So joining us now is old friend of mine, Steve Kirsch from Be Crash Free. Steve, are you there?
I am. Hello, how are you?
I'm peachy. How about yourself?
Wonderful, thank you. Looking forward to a fun weekend.
Yeah. Well, we got some catching up to do. It's been a while since we've seen each other.
Absolutely.
Just so people know, you are who trained me to be a trainer up in Idaho, and tell everyone what a good student I was.
No, you weren't a good student. You were a great student.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We did wheelies, burnouts, and flaming hoops, and it was a lot of fun. We spent, what was it? I think 4 or 5 days in DBS, dirt bike school, and then 3 days in adventure bike school, and all out in the dirt in the high desert in Boise, Idaho. It's actually Kuna, if you want to pronounce it correctly. Idaho is where the track/facility is that we use. And you guys blew it away. You, Wendy, and the rest of the group that were there were a bunch of fun. And we're looking forward to expanding on that team now with a lot of things we're growing into this year.
Yeah, well, for me, this is a big step. This has been my next evolution of my career is teaching and getting certified in dirt bike and adventure from you. And then I'm also getting my street training like Wendy already has. I'm just trying to catch up with Wendy. But Wendy, you were there for the training too. We had a good time. We had a good class in Boise.
We had a great time. I mean, we not only had a great group of student coaches, but the entire crew at Be Crash Free really made it a fantastic experience for us. So I'm definitely looking forward to next steps.
Can you talk a bit, Steve, before we get to the big announcement that we've been teasing? Tell us more about what Be Crash Free is.
So we like to call ourselves the administrative arm of the industry as a whole. What really has happened to the business over the last number of years, and it started in the COVID era, was a transformation from 1-on-1 or 1-on-12, depending on how you're talking about it, classroom environments, to now everything happening out on a range. And that transformation was twofold. One, we couldn't do it during COVID, right? Couldn't be in a classroom easily. And two, it's much more productive to get the students on motorcycles and riding than it is to be talking to them about riding. So the industry moved towards what's considered an LMS or learning management system. And we've been on the forefront of that. And that's really what we do is we produce online classrooms. And then for special folks like you guys, which was really the case, we run specific trainings for the people we want to both be involved with and want to be involved, have them involved with us. And so your training was not something we offer out often. We do that more so for truly the fun of it and the industry build on our side. So to the other side, when we're not doing the administrative wing, we do advanced training of all different sorts around the country. We're a national company, and we do both master training to certify coaches, and we do advanced training for civilians to get better on riding their motorcycles, both in the dirt. Hope that gives you a big enough perspective.
Well, it does. And, one thing that, both Wendy and I know for certain that I try and explain to people who have no plans on adventure or dirt riding, that the tools you get in the dirt translate to the road, but not the other way around.
My apologies for stepping on you. Yeah, absolutely. Quite the opposite is exactly correct. The more you're comfortable with how your motorcycle moves under you, how much it's going to get out of what would be considered the expected path of travel, gravel on the road, oil on the road, water on the road, other debris or other conditions, the dirt provides you with a very nice level of adaptation to those unique moments, or what we like to call butt pucker moments.
Yeah.
Because as they're happening in a turn or somewhere in the roadway system, on pavement, you're expecting grip and it goes away. So starting in the dirt with the familiarity of the machine being inconsistent consistently makes a very big difference to your success on pavement.
Yeah. And Wendy, you've used all the tools on a trip in Pakistan and then your trip in Nepal. I mean, can you imagine doing those types of tours without having the skills that you have on the dirt?
And don't forget our Peru trip as well.
Oh, yeah. And our Peru trip, our world tour.
But I don't have to imagine what it's like doing those types of roads without training, because up until the last few years, I have done those roads with no training. And, I started out, I took my Yamaha FZ1, which is a naked sport bike. I've taken my Yamaha FJR, which is a sport touring bike. My FJR, I took all the way up to Inuvik, beyond the Arctic Circle, on shale roads. And I can tell you how many butt pucker moments come out of not having those skills versus the really wild conditions we experienced in Pakistan. And we're just cruising along. When you know what to expect, you know how to handle the unexpected, it completely changes your experience.
Yeah, Steve, we were just reminiscing about our trip to Peru. And I was remembering, I started riding dirt late, and I having our good friend Bill Edgar at our rally, and he was teaching people like first time to dirt. And I was like, yeah, first time I came here to this dirt bike park, I just did the dirt road in and out of the park. Like that's all I did, but now that I have the skills, I can do more. And when we were in Peru, we were doing, it was mixed dirt and pavement. We're riding the Royal Enfield Bullets, but there was a little side trip we took to some top of some mountain to see some lake. And I had been riding the tail the whole time, and we got onto this just dirt road that serpentined up through these hills. And I was like, Josh, just let me go. Let me go. And I just remember like taking off and sliding that rear wheel in the turns. Not doing crazy speeds, but definitely, faster than the group, and just having that little bit of fun and that security. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm riding within my range. I'm not like doing anything crazy, but just taking off and having so much fun on a road that, a few years back, I just would have been like, And what a difference it made in the trip and the experience.
It's dramatic when you can use what would be considered tools off your tool belt to confidently understand the next step in that turn, that straightaway, that uphill, that downhill, and be able to apply the tools on the motorcycle in a way that only produce better results. And that only comes from, in my view, the perspective of training. As Wendy said, she butt puckered her way through her learning in the beginning and did it on much more powerful machines than most people ever want to get on the dirt with, because of the way the throttle response is on our street bikes. It's very different than what is a dirt bike in many cases. And especially compared to a Royal Enfield Bullet, as an example, which is just a phenomenal little training bike and a great riding bike, but it doesn't have the oomph that an FJR does, as an example.
Right.
So the more you can safely explore. And what we like to say is high challenge, low threat in our classes. The more we give everyone a chance to safely find the limits, but yet not exceed them in a way that hurts them.
Yeah. Well, Wendy, we've been talking about, your trip to Nepal and our previous trips, and we've talked to Alex about the Vintage Rides Academy in France and Wales. Are you ready? You guys ready to make our big announcement? And
I'm ready.
Why we have Steve here? Who wants to take this? Wendy, you want to take this?
I'll take this. Yeah. So we are really excited to announce this. We've been working on this for several years, and it has finally come to fruition. We have launched for 2025 the Vintage Rides Academy USA, powered by Be Crash Free.
Yay! And we've had to keep silent about this for so long.
For so long, we've been waiting, and we've been working really, really hard behind the scenes. We really felt like there was a gap in the training opportunities available for people. It seems, there's a lot of different options for on-road training, and there's a lot of different options for higher levels of off-road training. But what about those people they're competent on-road riders? They know how to operate the motorcycle, and they just want to get a feel for what happens off-road. They're not looking to jump the bike. They're not looking to do really, really crazy, aggressive things. They don't want to go home hurt. They just want to practice and gain understanding in a controlled environment with experienced coaches. What's it like doing emergency braking on sand? How do I traverse a hill? How do I recover if I drop the bike on a hill? Just the basic things that if you want to go out and explore the trails in your backyard, those skills you want to build. So we have Vintage Rides partnered with Be Crash Free to bring you the Academy here in the U.S. finally, at long last.
And so it will be, let's cover dates, location, all the things.
So our first dates that we have announced, June 4th through 6th, and our special dates, June 6th through 8th. So Liza, if you want to tell them what's special about those dates.
I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
So Wendy and I are going to be teaching classes.
So we're encouraging women. It's open to anybody, but this is a great opportunity for all the women out there that are looking to build their skills. Bring your friends, bring your spouses, your partners, your plus one, whoever. But it's going to be a really, really fun class in a great environment. We'd like to see a lot of ladies come out for this one.
I think this is kind of like a full circle moment. We're like getting the training from Steve, and now we're able to help train, anybody, but we specifically know how women think and how women ride. And as somebody who didn't ride dirt until really about 10 years ago, I know what it's like to have that, like where your body just locks up and you feel uncomfortable. But then to get those skills and to just unlock joy in these roads now, and to be able to give that and share that with women riders who are looking to get that extra confidence and to be able to enjoy exploring the dirt roads that go who knows where. We always look up those roads and go, what's up there? And Steve, does Boise have roads like that?
Boise has lots of roads like that. If I may, let me digress for a quick moment and say the two legends in the business from different perspectives of what each of you give to the community. And we're really, really proud to be a part of your worlds in that regard, from the Iron Butt side to the podcast side and all the things you contribute to the industry. I also want to say very clearly, women aren't represented well enough in the business. And from the guy in the room, that's got to change. And it's not changing for profit. It's changing for comfort and functionality. And we're so proud to have the two of you teaching for us. And we want that to be a ongoing go forward plan for our company where we're balancing the offerings. You got a chance to see Bill Edgar in form out where he was at with you guys at the last event you were at. And he's literally going to be heading up our complete dirt team. We're calling it All Things Dirt. And by the end of May, actually probably by the mid-May, if I've got the dates correctly, he'll be a rider coach trainer able to certify other people in both DBS and ADV. And so we're moving our company to a larger footprint and expanding it in multiple different ways. But the way we really want to grow is with what you two bring to the business and how you do that. So feel free to, sell us any way you'd like. And at the same time, that you'll have complete support on that. Regards roads in Boise, there's 3 really neat ideas with Boise. 1, there's the challenging stuff. Then 2, there's the BDR, the back roads discovery routes that they have here that have a balance between challenge and easy and everywhere in between. And then we have our own private routes. One of the things we have here is resident named Mr. Bill Jenkins, who you both met at different points. He's one of our senior trainers as well. And he was a former Air Force B-52 captain. So navigating the world and finding the detailed roads to ride that nobody else knows about, that's Bill's specialty. And we've got a couple of really neat routes that we've planned for the Vintage Rides Academy powered by Be Crash Free that will be enjoyable, gorgeous vistas, and neat places just to be a part of.
We haven't even talked about the bikes yet. Who wants to take that one? Me? You want me to take it? Okay. Well, the whole reason that this is with Vintage Rides is they're known for doing their partnership with the Royal Enfield. We got to ride the Bullet in Peru. What did you ride in Nepal again?
We rode the 350 Classic.
Right. And what are we going to be having in the US for the Academy? The better dirt bike, the new Himalayan, right? The Himalayan 450?
Himalayan 450.
Yes.
Brand new, 0 miles on the bikes right now. And that's where you'll see them, is 0 miles.
And what I like about this too is there are a lot of people who want to be able to explore. And when we get new riders here at the Recycle Garage and they're looking for their first bike, the most common answer when I say, what do you need the bike to do? Well, I want to be able to commute, go to work, and maybe just do like a weekend ride, but maybe take it camping and do some exploring. They want that bike that'll do everything, but they don't have a budget for a GS or, a Triumph or a KTM. And that's what I like about the Royal Enfield. It's that affordable, is it rude to call it the budget adventure bike?
It's the Swiss Army bike.
I was going to say it does everything extremely well. And I wouldn't necessarily call it budget for what it is, but it's inexpensive in comparison to the ADV market.
Exactly. And so we're going to be putting people on these bikes and taking them out. So it's a great way to try a bike you've never tried. But if this is a bike that you're interested in and want to get the training on that bike to be able to go do exploring, this is really it tees you up for that perfectly.
We received our new motorcycles a few weeks ago, and we've been playing with them in our storage locker property where we can ride around and so on. And the TFT dash is incredibly clear in the sun. It Bluetooths to your phone, so you can connect your phone to the motorcycle and have the ability to, in essence, have GPS somewhat synced. The bike has a very nice throttle response, and you can change between what would be considered an eco mode and a performance mode, so that if you're a little tentative and you want to still have fun in the dirt, you go eco mode, and it won't have nearly the snap of power. But if you're on the highway and you want to be able to pass a car, I'm a big guy, and I'm able to get that bike up to a comfortable 75, 80 miles an hour on the highway. And we have that speed allowed here in Boise, and it's still responsive. And at a 450, a little lightweight 450, that bike is a wonderful motorcycle. I've been in the training business since 1998. Starting out on Wendy's FJR is an example. It's a little bit large. Starting out on a super sport of some sort that's even a naked upright like she talked about with her other bike is still a little overwhelming for any rider. This bike has all you need to make it a great year 2, 3 year, 4 year motorcycle as the first bike. Mm-hmm. Then you want it in the garage for the rest of your life for when you want to just have some simple fun and not have to work too hard.
Yeah, It sounds like really the perfect setup, especially for people. There are a lot of people who want to get the training, but we've talked about like rawhide, or a bunch of us have taken Jocelyn Snow's class. And this is really for people who can afford the bike that can do everything and that they want to really advance their skills. But there's not really a lot for taking people down to like, let's just give you some training and then take you out on trails. Because we haven't talked about the kind of trails we're going to go on. What can we expect? You said the BDR, but can you describe the trails you have there?
Sure. We have a couple videos on the website for anybody who wants the visual of what I don't do well at describing, but I'll do my best to share that logic. A lot of it's what would be called fire roads and simple single track. It's all meant to be up in the woods, and we got the bikes 2 weeks ago, and the boys took them the next day and went up to elevation all the way to snow. Because we still had snow in Boise. We still have snow in Boise in the upper elevations, but all of it is meant to be, 3-4 inch water crossings, nothing deeper than that. Simple, fun stuff in that regard, to a bumpy road, to a little bit uphill, a little bit downhill, some twisties. But all of it is meant to be more of a let's go riding without the rules of the street, but yet not be challenged with having to climb over boulders.
Well, so Wendy and I, we like some challenges like we experience on some of our tours. Can we expect active landslides?
No.
Oh, what about death bridges?
We can create them if you really want. I was a carpenter, so I know how to make that happen. But there is nothing of the sort. And here's the real big deal that Be Crash Free really, you touched on Rawhide and a few other schools. Mm-hmm. I love what Jim Hyde offers at Rawhide. I think it's a fantastic program. But to go there, you're going in on at the small end, a 700-800cc BMW, which is a great bike. And then on the typical end, you're at the 12 or 1300 GS model. This bike, again, affords a lot more latitude in learning. And we're not going to talk deep mud or deep sand or really deep water where your knees are in the water and your boots are filling up with water. Those are all awesome things. And I'll say, go see Jim because he's perfect at that stuff and they're really good at it. For us, Be Crash Free prides themselves on not really having you crash. If you recall during your trainings, we didn't have any bikes really drop. And the reason is that's not where you want to start. You don't want to start with the threat of fear at that level. We want to give the introduction of, let's see some success. Let's work with slippery stuff, but not crazy stuff. Let you explore. And a foot down saves you 9 times out of 10 in our training environment.
I agree with that. I personally don't crash. I leave that to Wendy.
She says she's good at it. So I haven't personally seen it, but
I've seen her tuck and roll.
Yeah, she's good at it.
I'm quite acrobatic when I need to be.
She's agility of a cat.
We were out unloading the bikes just 2 days ago in the morning to start them up again and keep them happy. And as we're doing so, I start to get on one and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing and swung my leg up and all of a sudden the bike's moving away from me and one of my guys rushes over. And then as he gets close, he goes, you're used to crashing. Just drop it. And I held it and didn't drop it that time, but the reality is I understand what a crash is, and I've done a lot of them, and you don't need them to be able to be good at motorcycling. You want to be prepared for them, as Wendy is and can tuck and roll. I love it. But really to have fun with a motorcycle in most people's worlds is to not be threatened at that level. And that's part of what Be Crash Free. I'm learning how to talk again. I apologize. Be Crash Free really wants to pontificate on and really tell everyone is we're not here to threaten you at that level or put fear in that way. We do have advanced off-road classes. They're in a different program, but this program is 100% about nothing more or less than getting you successful on a bike and comfortable with that bike.
Great. Well, let's talk about, so you got the 2 dates in June. Let's talk about price. Let's talk about where people can find out more about this.
I'll start with the easy side, becrashfree.com.
Uh-huh.
And all the links are under different environments, but the one that they'd want to go to for this is the Vintage Rides Academy. It's right on our drop down under training. $1,990 gets you the 3-day experience, which is 1 day of class in a closed parking lot type environment, a dirt lot. And then 2 days of what we call looped tours. You'll start at a certain spot each day, and from there head out and do 4 to 6 hours of riding, depending on weather and your fatigue management. and we'll take you on separate tours each day of the environment. There will be one professional coach with you all the time. So someone like Bill Edgar, as an example, leading the ride. He's a trainer and he is a guide as well. The goal of the experience is it's somewhat all-inclusive. We don't pay for your travel to get here or go home, but we pay for you to be here. So we'll cover your hotel for a couple of nights. We'll cover your food. And obviously gas and motorcycle and insurance are included as well in the package. And it's, again, $1,990 for the 3-day package.
And we're really trying to appeal to the women riders who want to sign up for the June 6th through 8th with Wendy and I. And like I said, we're going to, be your coaches and make sure you're getting some really like one-on-one coaching and get you confident and have fun. And it's not going to be anything too crazy. We're not going to be, can I use a hose? I want to hose people down and make it muddy. Can we do that?
Well, you can, but then you've got to have different insurance and a different setup. And that's going to be your class, Liza.
All right. So we're going to keep it nice and fun and just basically work on skills. And for anyone who's been dirt riding, these are the kind of skills that it's good to revisit. Just when, we had to take the class before we learned to teach it. And I think the thing that I benefited from the most with you is you just kept saying when I was standing up riding, put your weight more forward. And suddenly the bike started turning a lot easier. And it's like that little adjustment had a big outcome in controlling the bike.
You're touching on it. One of the most important things in riding, the body's ergonomic relationship to the motorcycle. The motorcycle is engineered, regardless of which one you're on, to use a pivot point of the handlebars and the front wheel to directionally control the bike. The rear wheel is meant for the power application. And in the dirt, that means that the rear wheel will either be light because there's not a lot of weight back there, or worse, slide because you're putting a whole bunch of power into it. So moving your weight forward, as you said, is absolutely correct because it gives you more front wheel control and placement for the average, again, flat dirt rider who's trying to just be comfortable with the footprint of the bike, not moving too far out of whack and doing exactly what they want it to do. We have an exercise we teach called Balance the Bike, which ergonomically, statically, meaning you're stopped and the motorcycle's off, you get comfortable with where your body position should be to get good balance out of the machine and the response of the machine.
I was just revisiting one of our old interviews that we're going to be playing with Debbie Evans. Have you heard of her?
I have not.
She's a great stunt rider and a trials rider, but she had a trick on her trials bike where she would come to a stop, then she would pivot her feet over on top of the front fender, put her head on the seat, and then do a headstand while statically balancing.
That's awesome.
I know. Crazy. But it's possible. And that's the point of with enough training and practice, there is so much more skill that you can get.
Even for those of us that don't want to be doing headstands on our bike, something that I've found over the last few years as I've gone through training to get my coach certifications in various disciplines and that type of thing, every time that I take a class, half the time when I teach a class, when you are being really mindful about these movements and your relationship with the bike, you really realize how many bad habits you accumulate over the decades of riding. And it's amazing. I spend 20 years developing this bad habit. And then when I start really paying attention to what I'm doing, I'm like, oh, right, that's so much easier. That's so much more stable. And, it's so much more confidence inspiring. So even, for really experienced riders who just want to kind of get rid of some bad habits, it's fantastic to take a class. You always learn something new.
Cool. Well, Steve, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing the big news. I'm really looking forward to it. And and being there with Wendy, continuing our world domination.
Women's world domination.
Yes, exactly.
Run the world. We'll be happy to follow.
And again, if you want to check this out, becrashfree.com. Does Wendy, if you do /VRA, does that get you straight there?
Correct. becrashfree.com /VRA will take you directly to the Academy site.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Steve, and I will be seeing you soon.
Thanks for all you do for us.
All right. Well, there you go. The big announcement is out of the bag. Wendy, I'm so looking forward to teaching some classes finally and having some students and especially exploring the trails in Idaho. It's beautiful out there in Boise.
Yeah, and you and I always have a fun time together, so I know we're going to have a great time with whoever all is lucky enough to score a seat on the June 6 to 8 class that we'll be teaching together.
Yeah, and you want to remind people where they can go to find that, besides the link in the show notes.
So link in the show notes, and you can go to becrashfree.com/VRA for information and to book your seat.
And if you're interested in checking out any of the Vintage Rides tours, vintagerides.com will get you there.
Yep. vintagerides.travel is the English site.
If you're as bad at French as I am, go there. And there's, again, I cannot say enough how much I really enjoyed the Vintage Rides tour, but also how, as people who like motorcycles are our lives and didn't know about this tour company, it's like the largest tour company in the world until last year when you introduced them to me. It's crazy. And the places they're going and doing these affordable, fun tours that usually are what they promise it to be.
The world is a dynamic place and, to a much greater degree in other countries. So, even if you didn't have adventure in mind, and we said it several times on the Nepal trip, adventure is seldom fun when you are having it. But if you put those tools in your toolbox, so you're prepared for whatever the world throws at you, whatever the road throws at you, you're gonna have a lot more fun, a lot more incredible, varied experiences are going to be opened up to you. So I'm really excited to share that.
Cool. Well, and thank you very much for being my co-host, the Stunt Misfit. Hopefully we'll get you on some more shows in the future. That's another little tease. And for all you listeners, you can go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com. You'll find the links to everything there, including where I'm going to be, which now I need to add Idaho to that. I've been keeping that a secret. And you can also email us at motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com. Wendy, if somebody has a question for you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
You can send me an email if you'd like, Wendy@vintagerides.travel. Find me on the social medias, Wendy Crockett on Facebook, and be happy to help.
All right, well, time to get out of here. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I really appreciate it. This is Liza.
This is Wendy.
And we are out of here. Cool.